hands, it can do very well in a classic solo run. Unfortunately for Fable though, I am not the right hands. I did not have a good time in any of my Fable solo challenges. But this is so now over to the live earlier about to see if Fable does any better in the Supermod challenge than it did in the solo run. I think it only says something again. Now this Pokemon is already giving me issues because we have so many moves that we can pick from. There are far too many to count. We've got Sing down to Splash and everything in between. So our first choice in this run is what learn set do we give to try and get some info to see how far we can get. I'm not feeling confident about getting all the way through with Fable on the first try, but I'm trying to figure out a learn set that I think would get us fairly far. Now, looking at our speed, if we do get to red, we're going to want to play as a special attacker, because just 60 in speed means we don't really have the greatest chance of outspeeding Pikachu, and that means we'll get Charm. So I think we are going to go for all three of the tutor moves. I know we did both. I know we did two of them around that. Unfortunately, they are just that good. I've got a feeling that the tutor moves might end up being the power of return in these games, but they are not universal. So three of those to begin with. We might only end up needing two of them at the very end of this, if we don't make it through on our first try, that is. But having all three will get used. So we've got Flamethrower. We will now try ourselves. The last one is going to be high speed, and then after that, Body Slam. I know that Body Slam is a better move than Try Attack, higher PP, higher base power, and a chance to paralyze. But is the chance to burn or freeze going to be worth having for the lower PP and lower base power? As biased as I am to Try Attack, I think the answer is going to be no. So I am considering Try Attack, Body Slam over Try Attack. But at this point, what four moves would you use? If we have another run, you never know, I might end up with the same four moves you pick. Probably not, because you all know what I'm like. I'm not exactly the smartest player, am I? We'll go for Body Slam on this particular event. See how far we get. Throughout the course of this challenge as well, I will remind you of the round. I know it's still very, very new. This is only our second video where we are doing the Supermon challenge, so we will get ourselves our learn set. Let's take a look at it. We are level 5 with 26 HP. We're holding that berry as always with Flamethrower, Thunderbolts, Ice Beam and Body Slam. 13 in attack and defense, 15 in the specials, and just 12 in speed. Now, let's get this challenge underway. I am going to ask you if you are challenges, please do liking the video and subscribing to the channel. They take a lot of time, energy, effort, and patience to produce. I can tell you that the Fable was not originally planned to be straight after Gengar. There are a couple of other runs that I still need to put a little bit more time to, because I've not quite found the winning formula yet. So, if you do enjoy them, please do. And if you're wondering, what on earth is a Supermon challenge? Do not fret, I will not take you through the rules of the challenge. So this is a solo Pokemon challenge devised by a wonderful person in that section called Matthias. And it's a solo challenge, a bit of a difference from what we're used to. Instead of being against the Pokemon, we are against the gym leaders and the elite team, Glass and Red. We will earn 1 point for every successful victory over a gym leader or an elite 4 member. We will earn 2 points for defeating Glass, and we will earn 3 points for defeating Red. That is a grand total of 25 points. That is our theoretical maximum, and that is when we can call a Pokemon. To get there, we have to do it in 1 attempt. A reset is counted as a loss. So if we get knocked out right back to the beginning, we take a look at our moves, and we go back to the drawing board. The moves we use are the 4 moves we select at the very beginning of the challenge. So in this instance, we have picked Body Slam, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower. We cannot change those in any way, shape, or form for the rest of the challenge. So we have to commit from the very beginning. And with that, you know how to play a Supermon. It is a very, very tough challenge. It's sort of in the middle of a solo run, a Nuzlocke, an Ironmon run, and plenty of other ways we have learned to play the game wrong. And one other thing I should mention is we have a hard-coded level cap. That means that our Pokemon's level will not be able to exceed the maximum level that is next Pokemon. So for instance, we're about to go to Falconer. Falconer's Pidgeotto is level 9. So as soon as we hit level 9, we will not be able to gain any more experience points. We will still be able to get the stat experience from the Pokemon we knock out, but we will have to wait until our next level up. We don't have HM friends in this, we have HM items. The HM friends are getting some well-deserved rest, and that is because all TM functionality has been removed from this version of Pokemon Crystal. That stops us inadvertently cheating in the middle of the run. You may also notice there is no timer on screen. We do not need to worry about time whatsoever. All that we worry about is getting the Pokemon as far as we can through this challenge. We can get any items we like, we can sell all the TMs for vitamins. In fact, vitamin shopping comes in very easy. It does give us a little bit of an extra boost to our stat experience. We are playing on Gen 2 stat experience. That means we can max out every single stat. Now you may have seen there against Bugcatcher Wave, we did not get any experience whatsoever. However, we still do get the stat experience from Bugcatcher Wave, admittedly, but it still all does add up. And with that, we are now in our first gym together. We're about to hopefully get our first of hopefully several throughout the course of this challenge. Going to Falconer, he is going to be flying type specialist, he's going to leave the pitching. We have Thunderbolt and we have Ice Beam, so most people are going to bother to heal here. We crit the pitching probably to get hit by a gust, and we would not the Pidgeotto. And that means we obtain the second badge, our level cap goes up, and we also earn our first point. That is a very good sign. It means we're not going home with nothing. So now we are going to climb the Sprout Tower. Now, it might seem a little bit strange doing Sprout Tower immediately after Falconer. We're used to classic challenge runs. Thus, we get the experience from all of these trainers. We don't have to worry about the timer, so we don't have to worry about the extra time expenditure. And we have a couple of key items at the very top of the Sprout Tower. All of the HM moves and all of the field moves have been replaced with items. So that means we don't need to worry about any kind of movement across the overworld. And in fact, I really like it means we have just one Pokemon in our party the entire time. We are now gaining levels again because we are up to the next level cap, but I can guarantee that we will hit level 16 well before we get to level 6. Now, unlike in our Nuzlocke together, because we are training just one Pokemon and we're running with just one Pokemon, we are not allowing the use of the red candy, or candy jar as we like to call it, until after we have defeated Blue. Just because of how long Blue will take and how many levels difference there are between Blue and Red, I'm allowing myself to bump the level up of our Pokemon after we've defeated Blue. It's a little bit of a cop-out, but I really don't fancy spending an hour, 2 hours, even at full-time speed, grinding through the Elite Four to get the level just to face Red for the chance of beating him. It's one of those sacrifices for the sake of content. I just decided that's the place we're going to be doing a little bit of cheating. Now we have the Lantern from the Savior at the top of the tower, the key escape rope. The Lantern is our flash analog, and the key escape rope is going to act just like a regular escape rope, and like a big field move, except it will never run out. And now, so this is the challenge I want to say that there are going to be multiple ways you can play a lot of Pokemon. We are all going to be learning from scratch. This is a brand new format. So there are going to be ways and methods we can thought of for getting through a little bit easier. So we are right back to where we were at the beginning of the channel. So that means I might make misplays. In fact, I probably will make a lot of misplays. I'll take on wrong trainers, I'll take losses where I probably shouldn't have done. But it's all part of the learning curve. So please do have a little bit of patience. If it's feeling like I'm doing something that you think you wouldn't do, because chances are I am just being a little bit daft. But I did just want to reiterate that because I know that I'm definitely not going to be the most efficient. And that's another part of the reason why I decided to scrap the timer for this format, because it is going to take a lot of thinking. You've got to manage your stat experience and your regular experience incredibly carefully in this, because if you skip trainers and then find you're up against someone you're raging against, if you'd have taken some extra stat experience in the relevant stat, you might have got one shot and you might have got through. It's part of the reason why I'm stopped using the repel here in the campaign as well. Because we get a few encounters, we get a little bit of extra stat experience, and because we don't have that clock looming over us, we can just take our time. And so now as we are making our way further through Union K, we are about to hit our next level cap. We're about to hit 16. I won't show every time we're hitting a level cap, but at least in the beginning, especially on these first few runs, I just want to demonstrate that it does always stay at the level cap as soon as we hit it. So there's no chance of doing any cheese at all, which for me is great because I'm lactose intolerant. I am still going to pick up a lot of items. In fact, I'll be picking up more items on these runs than on all of our challenge runs, because I can sell all of them for a lot of money and get even more vitamins. I do think vitamins are going to be the key to these challenges. As I mentioned in the Gengar challenge, I do have a little bit of an indication on my screen telling me exactly how many vitamins I can use per Pokemon. So that does just give me a little bit of health hits, so one bit of extra assistance I want to do our challenges, because that means I'm not overbuying or underpaying at all. And now with the rockets taken care of, we can go in the ground. This is going to be our second win. We've got a few gym trainers to take out before we can score our next point. Now, in the event of a tie break, if a Pokemon does not complete the run, we are going to score it based on how far through to the next point of Pokemon was. So, for instance, if we lost to Bugs's Cypher here, we would get a very high 1 point compared to, say, if we lost somewhere like 30. Now, I won't be displaying those points because that's going to get all messy. But when we get to the leaderboard at the very end, those numbers will be useful for ordering the Pokemon in the sort of correct order. It's very close to my breaks. I'll just go by vibes, honestly. But now it is time for Alex. This is Bugsy. He is worth our second point. He led with Metabolic, went down with the Flamethrower. Cooley is down the same way. We are going to take some damage from the Cypher, but not too much at all. And that means we have 2 points. 5 badge acquired, doubling our pointing. We get tier as well. Sell that for money, that makes me very happy. And we are about to take on our next rival battle. We will do a very quick journey with the post this moment to go into the Pokemon Center, and we will take him on. He leads with Ghastly. He's a flamethrower, will knock it out in 1. We'll swap to Ice Beam for that, and a Pokemon Ice Beam for Bailey. Poison Powder misses, he thinks we're a fairy for some reason there, and we get through on our first try. Now, looking at that PP, I do want to go and restore it so slowly. Let's now start making our way through the forest though. And now as we're making our way through the forest, we've got a side charcoal maker. That is our replacement for that. Whereas on that, we'll give you a true shaker if you do wish to use the headbutt freeze. But I was thinking a little bit about some of the weaker Pokemon in the time through these challenges. And my idea is to give them a try with their normal Gen 2 learn sets initially, see just how far we can go, and then I will look at backporting some of their later generation moves. I'm thinking a Pokemon like Ledian, for instance, could end up with Quiver Dance, and that will help it out a lot more than it would just by getting a little buff to its base stats, or any other kind of cheating we could do. They will be clearly marked on the leaderboard as well, just in case we do want to differentiate between those that have had a little bit of extra help and those who doesn't care. Now that does pose one big flaw with how we've selected the moves here. The Generation 1 Pokemon are a little bit more lopsided compared to their Generation 2 counterparts. The Generation 1 Pokemon get access to all of the TMs that we learn in Gen 1, but the Gen 2 Pokemon can't go back to Gen 1. The Gen 2 Pokemon do not have access to those. My solution to that will be to create a version of this particular challenge where I look at the Gen 3 learn sets for a lot of the Gen 2 Pokemon, and then I try and figure out which ones of those are Gen 1 moves, and we will expand the learn set that way. But again, those will be clearly marked. Now we're going to get the coin case here because we are going to grab ourselves a little rental Abra from the game corner. Instead of having a regular Abra, we're going to have a key item Abra. So that does technically mean we have 2 Pokemon, but one of them can never be sent out in battle. And that will act just like teleport. So we can go in and out of buildings as we please. We'll always be able to get back to our most recent Pokemon Center. And another great thing about only having one Pokemon, we don't have to worry about Rural Whirlwind anymore. That is such a relief. Because the amount of times we have to pause, we have to just throw the dice because we got trapped in a battle with Roar. Those days are over, at least in the Digimon challenges. Now we have hit our next level cap, but we are going to take on Leaves and Magmar. They have a lot of special stat experience locked away in them. That's going to prove very, very useful. And one last thing we're going to do before we take we'll get a quick call. We only have 16 speed. That is nowhere near fast enough. So the quick call will absolutely help us out. So we have now had a little chat with Floria. She's told us about the tree that's blocking the way, so we'll have to return all the way back to the progress even further in the challenge. Now normally with fast Pokemon, we would be, at least in a classic run, a very, very high level compared to Quickness Pokemon. But, of course, we are only the same as her Miltank. So that is another bit of strategizing we are going to have to do. Trainers are quickly become incredibly dangerous. She's just as bad as she is in a hardcore Nuzlocke. So let's now see if we can take her on. With the Fairy, we will body slam with the Fairy. It uses agility, but it's otherwise meaningless. She goes to Stomp and she crits. That's bad. She blocks herself into Rollout though. And she misses. We lucked our way through that. I don't think we deserved that win. However, we're not going to complain. We get a play badge, we get an extra point, and we now have a level cap of 25. I really think we should have gone down there. There was most crit was a bit of bad luck against us. So we have both the good and the bad luck there. But regardless, it was for Fairies to win on the day. We can move forwards towards Equity City. And now as we are making our way towards Equity, we get a big hammer from the Rock Smash Man. That's going to allow us to break some rocks as we go through the challenge. And I would like all of the opinions. For some challenges, especially with the Water Pokemon, it's going to take multiple attempts to get through to the end of the challenge. Now, would you like to only see the final run where we do get through, at least as far as I think we could make it? Or would you like to see the entire process from start to finish? Seeing the initial learn set, any jobs and changes, any strategy changes that I do to try and get the win. I think for this video I'm only going to show the end result because I'm hoping it will be at least a one and done to get to maybe the end of the game. If not, quite far in anyway, we'll give it a go later down the line, but please do let me know. Because this is a format, we don't know what works, we don't know what doesn't work. Even down to the nitty-gritty of how we want to do the whole content creation spiel as well. And now as we're heading towards the late break, we are going to try and reach our level cap in preparation for a wide group. Quickly stop there for the second time as many times as long as we used against them. And this does have some fantastic Pokemon stats experience on route. We get a pair of well, we get a Nidoking and a Nidoking in that water. We get that Nidoking there again, we get a Slowbro, and then we also get some Gyarados. So we are getting oodles of very, very good battles. And like I mentioned a couple of times, we still get stat experience. So it is absolutely worth taking on some of these fully evolved Pokemon to try and get that little bit of extra out. But with that, all the trades I want to, we will still get the full restore that is located here at the Lake of Rage. We are also still going to get the rare candy. Now the rare candies can be used at any point in the run. I find using them to be price and chance to be the best place. But the rules state we can use them anywhere we like. Because we're at the level cap, that means we are going to go straight into Rival 3 now. There is no sense in trying to get any extra levels. We don't have any way to gain experience. So we'll go into Rival 3 and then we'll probably put them in very because Multi could be a little terrifying. We are going to be slower probably than his Gengar. It's nice to here against the water. Spike's absolutely fine. We will then start to flamethrower the Magnemite. We will then leave over the Thunderbolt for the Zubat. And then we'll use a flamethrower on the Bailey. We end up needing two. Absolutely fine by me. We'll fall through the floor now. Those. The last thing we can do first how it is grab the HP up here. We might use that earlier than Carapace because we're going to have HP up well before the Carapace Berry. Now I do know in the classic challenge run it's been a little bit about me doing a Lighthouse and please do trust me. It takes about 7 seconds to cycle back from Olivine to Equity. I covered it in quite a few of the videos where we were doing that routine. And it does not waste time. If it wasted time, I would not be doing it. So when we go back to the classic challenge runs, I will still be doing that routine because the levels you get do help out as well. I think the things we do on the classic routine, we get a bit merry with the but then we are going to go all the way back to Equity Pokemon Center, and we will go into our next shot together. And part of the reason why I've recorded this clip is because it's 13 of the video, and I don't want to be doing Morty on the 13th clip. I'm very superstitious, so I'll tell you what, let's skip ahead to clip 14. And now with all of the gym trainers taken care of, it's time for Morty. We're holding on to that all-important Mint Berry. Let's hope we get through. This could be a tricky one, you know, for poor old Clefable. We are cursed, which isn't great, and we've been sent to sleep straight away. We also don't do over half damage on the Gengar, but we have frozen it. That is the kind of luck we were needing. That's why I went for Ice Beam. And we've frozen the Haunter as well. We scam that victory. We grasp victory out of the claws of defeat. And for 2 gyms in a row, we have gotten through when we possibly shouldn't have done. That's 4 points on the board. We can now start going towards Olivine City. Now here in Olivine, we're going to get the Burly Man's phone number so that he can move those boulders whenever we give him a call. It does mean that we don't have to have strength on our learn set. We can start ascending the lighthouse. There is a bit of a gap between Morty and Chuck's levels, so we've got 4 levels to play with. 4 levels to maximise our stat experience throughout the course of this challenge. That Noctowl's going to give us a lot of physical defensive stat experience, but because our special stat experience in Gen 2 only works on special attack, we are looking for high special attackers actually to boost our special defense. It's kind of weird that, but it's one of the quirks of Gen 2 and it's why I love it so much. Hopefully now the ride up to the top of the lighthouse will be fairly smooth, though I will be honest, I am terrified of Chuck's gym that is just around the corner. It's not even necessarily Chuck himself that's worrying me the most. It is going to be that tag team of Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. I think they will do an awful lot of damage to us. If we can get through those, I'd be fairly confident we can get through the rest of Chuck's gym, but we shall just have to see. Now here at the tippy top of the lighthouse, we'll have a little chat with Jazz. We'll grab our second rare candy of the challenge, And then we're also going to pick up the Swagger TM. Once again, it's just to buy, just to sell for a little bit of extra cash money moolah, because all the cash we can get will absolutely help out in the course of this challenge. Just before we head over to Signwood, I am backtracking ever so slightly, not to get an apricorn, but to have a chat with Sunny of Sunday. He gives us the magnet, and that will give us a little boost to our electric type moves. I'm sure you can see where we're going with that. Chuck's ace Pokemon is weak to electric, so we'll have a little bit of an extra boost to try and knock him out in maybe 2 shots instead of 3. I am also going to backtrack and do a little bit of training in a cave to try and boost our defense